All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Atlanta Falcons. To be quite honest with you guys, I really would not be surprised in the slightest if the Atlanta Falcons won at least 10 games next season. And yeah, you heard that right, at least 10 games. Now, if I'm checking NFL media right now, all I'm reading about as far as just like the NFC South goes is either I'm reading some Panthers hype with the new QB in town, or I'm reading some Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints hype. For some weird reason, I don't see too much going on with this Atlanta Falcons team. They were 7-10 last season. All right. That's not a bad record. If you remember, they were not projected to win anywhere near 7 games last season with Mr. Marcus Mariota as their starting quarterback to start off the season. To be honest with you guys, if we have NFL fans here, the Falcons this upcoming season actually kind of remind me of last year's Seattle team, where it's like everybody is sleeping on them. Everybody is underestimating what they are going to be capable of, and they're just going to blow expectations through the roof, and they're going to make the playoffs. They might win the division. You just never know what's going to happen. But long term, the Atlanta Falcons look awesome. All right, we'll just leave it at that real quick. Before we get any further into today's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. If you guys want more Falcons videos, this is my second ever Falcons video. I appreciate all the love from a couple of days ago. It's been a crazy ass weekend here. So if we get this video to 100 likes, that would mean the world to me. What we were talking about in our last Falcons video was mainly just all the improvements that this team made. Last year going 7-10 under Arthur Smith, 13 one-score games. That is just crazy in and of itself. They finished 7-10, but they were right there in the playoff hunt. So what did they do? Well, to be honest with you, they actually did a whole bunch, and they did not really lose much at all. Free agency-wise, they absolutely killed it. Calais Campbell, Jesse Bates, Mac Hollins, Taylor Henneke, you name it. Bud Dupree, Jonnu Smith, Scotty Miller, like the list goes on and on. We take a look at the draft. You go Bijan Robinson, you go Matthew Bergeron, you go Zach Harrison. The list goes on and on. They've been steadily improving this team for a couple of off seasons now, but specifically this past summer has been noticeable with guys like Calais Campbell, Jesse Bates, and Bijan Robinson, who I've been saying is a future Hall of Famer. I understand Falcons fan and NFL fans saying, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but trust me, if Bijan Robinson is healthy, he will be a Hall of Famer. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but that's the way I see it. So the defense last season did, I think, actually a phenomenal job in comparison to statistics. So we take a look at Falcons defense statistically, 23rd in the league. They gave up about 23 points per game. Personally, didn't really feel that. It's young, it's a hungry team. So we've already briefly mentioned it. We talked about it a couple of days ago. You get guys like Calais Campbell, you get guys like Jesse Bates, you get guys like Bud Dupree. They're going to make a huge difference. The Atlanta Falcons next season will not be close to 23rd worst in the NFL. In fact, at worst, I think they will be middle of the pack. But more specifically and more importantly, next year is big for Atlanta for a cat named Desmond Ridder. Their season kind of comes down to what he's going to provide. Now, keep in mind, the Falcons have a relatively easy schedule. All right, keep in mind, they had Marcus Mariota last year as quarterback. It just wasn't really great. The accuracy wasn't quite there. He did finish with 15 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, but this is a team that averaged 172 yards per game. And to my surprise, and I'm sure to a lot of your guys' surprises, somehow that's not worst in the NFL. That's second worst in the NFL at 172 passing yards per game. Desmond Ridder, though, and we talked about this, he looked so poised in his final 4 games with this Falcons team. I love to go back on that Bucs game, and it's weird saying that because, for the Bucs standpoint, the season was over. Tom Brady barely played it, whatever. Guys are still fighting for contracts. They're still fighting for money. They're fighting for roster spots. They're fighting for everything. Don't take week 18, or now it's week 18. Don't take the last week of the season for a losing team. Just don't discredit it. The Falcons in the last week of the season showed me a lot, all right? And we can even go back to guys like Kyle Pitts, who missed a bunch of the season. Tyler Algier had a phenomenal start to his young NFL career, averaging 4.9 yards per carry, had over 1,000 rushing yards. In fact, the Falcons' rushing offense in general was top 5 in every single statistical category. They were 3rd in total rushing yards. They were 1st in rushing attempts. They were 4th in rushing average. I see no reason why that won't improve this upcoming season with Mr. Bijan Robinson joining your team as well. So it's going to come down to Ridder to me. All right, because I actually would take the stance that the Falcons defense really kept them in a lot of these football games last season, specifically towards the end. We had Tampa win, Arizona win. Before that, losses to Baltimore, New Orleans, Pittsburgh. It wasn't pretty offensively. In a 4-game losing streak before the last 2 games of the season, they lost to Washington, they lost to Pittsburgh, they lost to New Orleans, and they lost to Baltimore. They only put up 13, 16, 18, and 9, but they only gave up 19, 19, 21, and 17. Like, I'm seriously trying to say, because Falcons fans know this, the NFL media doesn't know this, that Falcons defense next year is going to be relatively legit. At worst case scenario, it's going to be relatively legit. So that's why I keep coming down to, all right, I'm not trying to diss on the division here, but the NFC South isn't the strongest right now. Everybody is pointing towards the New Orleans Saints because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might actually be next year the worst team in the National Football League. Carolina's not quite there with a rookie quarterback. Falcons do have that advantage over it. I think they have just an overall better roster than Carolina. New Orleans definitely made some improvements. And so that's why we go back to the whole argument saying, like, all right, usually in an NFL season, so last year to this year, there's going to be like 4 new playoff teams at least, probably realistically more like 5 or 6, but at least there's going to be 4 new playoff teams. I don't know why it won't be Atlanta, even if they, like, in theory, hypothetically, weren't going to win the NFC South. I still don't see Atlanta falling below 500 this upcoming year, going 8-9. I think 9-8 gets you in the playoffs in the NFC. So that would be a huge success. And the thing is with Atlanta this upcoming season is a lot of it comes down to Ridder, right? Well, they surrounded him with new weapons, like even guys like Scotty Miller, Mac Hollins, Jonnu Smith. Like, these are nice additions. They're nice complementary depth pieces on your offense. So worst case scenario, the Falcons don't go 9-8. They don't go 10-7, and you only win 6 games. You only win 5 games, whatever it is. Well, at least now you know the situation going on at the quarterback position. Like, was it injury based? Was Ridder injured last season? Was he, was his weapons injured? Like, whatever it is, it's kind of a win-win for Atlanta, because if you have a bad season, well, now you're going to have a better draft pick in a quarterback-loaded draft class, and you still have these weapons, guys like Bijan Robinson, available to you. So I'm feeling really bullish on the Atlanta Falcons this upcoming season. I'm a Packers fan. There's no bias here. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. If you want more Falcons videos, go ahead, let me know down below. But guys, give me a win-loss prediction on this Falcons team for this upcoming season. Peace.